Hello and welcome to my first ever video where I'll be taking you on board the first ever Rex Airlines 737-800 flight between Melbourne and Sydney. Here at Terminal 4 there's the option of a check-in counter or a self-serve check-in kiosk. I opted for the latter. In a first for Rex, business class passengers also have their own check-in line. As this is the first time that Rex Airlines has offered a business class product on their aircraft, as they previously only operated Saab 340 aircraft with just economy. So I'm currently checking in for my flight. I can only check in for the Melbourne to Sydney leg here, and will have to get my next boarding pass for the return flight at Sydney Airport. So I've now checked in for my flight, boarding pass, and so I will now head upstairs at Terminal 4 and go through security. So once I'm through security, I head to gate 11 at Terminal 4, where there is a breakfast / morning tea launch event for the first ever flight. They are serving scones with jam and whipped cream. There is also coffee, which I didn't opt for, as I had a coffee before I left home.
With nearly 70 years providing services to regional Australia, Rex is the second oldest and the largest independent regional and domestic airline in Australia today. I'd now like to invite Mr. Lyle Stratton, the Chief Executive Officer of Melbourne Airport, to the microphone for a few words. Thanks, Lyle.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. It's nice to see you here. Actually, I'd always like to say welcome back to Melbourne Airport. It's been a considerable time since we've been able to run an event like this one. It's so exciting to be here today for what is the first expansion of Rex into the Trump network. Hugely exciting for Melbourne Airport. It's certainly not every day that you get to welcome a new carrier, but it's a bit wrong to be calling Rex a new carrier. It's a carrier that's been around with us for many, many years. It's a new carrier to the Trump routes, obviously. The airline is a terrific addition to this impressive Melbourne-Sydney route. It's one of the largest by traffic routes in the nation, which is really terrific. So a great place to launch services. Probably more than most people, I understand what it takes to launch a service like this. There is a huge amount of work that goes on behind the scenes here. And to the Rex team here today, I really want to thank them for the effort they put in. It's a single day event, but months and months of work going behind the scenes to make this happen, to make it happen so safely and with such style and aplomb that they're actually doing. I want to thank John Sharp, the Deputy Chair of Rex, who's here with us today, for coming down and the support he's given Melbourne Airport over the years. I'd like to thank the Melbourne Airport team for the tremendous work they've done to help make this a great success today. It's an exciting time for aviation in Australia. It's not often, as I said before, we get to welcome a new carrier to the skies. And with that comes increased competition, which usually translates to great fares, more service, more frequency, efficiency, all those things we desire. And to see an airline launch the way that Rex is launching this time is really impressive. You know, they're building off an existing airline. They're an established operator, and it's much easier to make this sort of transition as compared to somebody who's starting absolutely cold. So guys, I wish you every success in the sun, both commercially and operationally.
Thank you very much, Steve Lader, and to Lars Strandy from Melbourne Airport, to Booney Menon from the Victorian Government, representing the Victorian Government here today. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for being with us. But can I also pay my respects and my thanks to all the people who are here today to join us on this very historic first flight. I mean, thank you for coming. Thank you for having faith in us and booking that ticket and paying your money and turning up here this morning at the terrible hour of 6 o'clock in the morning in order to join in what is one of the most historic moments in Australian aviation in many, many years. And so can I thank all of you who've had the faith in us, Rex Airlines, for booking your ticket and joining us here this morning with this wonderful new.
It was then the moment for boarding to open for the very first time for the first flight between Melbourne and Sydney.
Okay, you all ready?
Looking up as you gentlemen, counting in.
Okay, 1, 2, and 3.
Looking up, looking up, looking up.
Thank you. Sorry. Well, there we go. You got enough?
So after that was done, it was then time to board the aircraft. Our plane today is a 17.5 years old Boeing 737-800. It was originally delivered to Virgin Australia in October 2003, and they were known as Virgin Blue. And after Virgin decided to decrease their fleet size due to the coronavirus pandemic, it was then delivered to Rex in December 2020.
Yeah, you can like, no, you can be in it. You can like model it for me. You look very comfortable. Enjoy your flight. You too.
So my seat today was 4F. This was previously known, as you can see from the seat covers, as Virgin Australia's Economy X. It just means it has more legroom. So sold as a extra legroom seat on board this flight. The seat is situated just in front of the wing, with a great view of the engine. So let's flash forward a bit into a flight here, just sort of looking at the seat. Standard overhead lights and vents there. So there's a standard tray table, and the legroom is rather good. I'm about 6 foot tall, so plenty of space.
This is Australia's largest and oldest independent regional airline, with its history dating back to 1953 with the formation of Hazleton Airlines, which together with Kendall Airlines were the component airlines of Rex. Rex operates a fleet of 61 Saab 340 aircraft to 59 destinations throughout all states in Australia. And we begin our domestic services today with our new fleet of Boeing 737-800 aircraft. Over the past 20 years, Rex has been the most reliable on-time passenger airline carrier in Australia. And our new jet domestic services will also enjoy this superior reliability. With reliability comes safety, and Rex, your safety will always be our #1 priority. We will be offering a number of premium full services with our trademark country hospitality at affordable prices. The weather for our flight today is expected to be fine en route, and the forecast temperature in Sydney will be 24 degrees in fine conditions. At this stage we plan to arrive in Sydney at just on 8:30. On behalf of everyone at Rex Airlines, we hope that you enjoy today's flight on what is a historic day in Australian aviation history. Thank you.
This flight is is our Rex flight ZL18 from Melbourne to Sydney. My name's Ebony. I'm going to be your cabin manager on board today's flight, and I'll introduce the rest of the crew whilst we're doing the safety demonstration as well. So we've just heard from our captain, he's John Beach, and also we have our other captain with us, Brett Brown. Please ensure you've now taken your assigned seat and your seatbelt is firmly fastened, and if you're seated in an emergency exit row or a row without a seat in front, all carry-on items must be stowed in the overhead lockers, keeping the floor area clear. If you do require any assistance or there's anything we can do to make your flight more comfortable, please don't hesitate to ask one of your friendly flight attendants as we move throughout the cabin. We also want to let you know that the safety and good health of our passengers and employees is our highest priority.
So then it was time to push back and begin our taxi to runway 27.
How little does the sample?
That actually plane sample will be this one.
It's in a little puddle
Ladies
jumper.
and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome back our frequent travellers and welcome anyone who's never flown with Rex at all. We welcome everybody. Thank you for travelling with Rex for the first time. And your flight attendants on board that will be helping us in the cabin. We've got at the front Nanako. In the middle is Lucinda. We've got at the back Samantha. And at the very back assisting us with our very first flight today, we have Mike and Ashley. May we have your full attention as we demonstrate the safety features for this Boeing 737 aircraft. It is a requirement to follow crew instructions at all times. Please pause all electronic devices during this announcement. If emergency oxygen is required, you will need to remove any face mask before fitting down the drop-down oxygen mask. And now here's the treat. Welcome to the show.
Unfortunately, I did not record the safety presentation for this flight, but that will be featured in my Rex business class video, which should be out very shortly, or is already out and posted in the link above if you're watching this in the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, in just a few moments' time, on both sides of the aircraft you'll be able to see Melbourne Airport providing a ceremonial water cannon salute to commemorate our first 737 service here at Rex.
On our taxi to runway 27, we were greeted with a water cannon salute. So we're now lined up on runway 27 and ready for takeoff. Not long after takeoff, the flight attendants came around with free champagne for all. Yes, it was about 7:30, but does it really matter?
We really do appreciate your participation in this very first Rex domestic air service between Melbourne and Sydney on the 1st of March 2021. For us, as I mentioned earlier in my remarks before we boarded today, this is a really historic moment for us. It's the culmination of so much hard work by so many people to overcome so many hurdles to make this first flight and subsequent flights happen. Many of the people who've been working on that are on board with us today, our Rex staff. And as I said before, I really do appreciate their contribution, their effort. Many of them have been working 7 days a week to make this happen. So today, we are not just engaging in a historic flight, but we're engaging in a flight which is unusual in that there are going to be some prizes for those of you who are aboard the plane. So I'm now going to draw a seat number from this bag that Steve's holding. You can only see his arm, the rest of his lines here. But the prize is for one of our passengers. It's 2 tickets on Rex from Melbourne to King Island. Now, if anybody has been to King Island, you'll realise it's one of the most wonderful destinations in Australia. It's a unique place, and it's a very, very pretty, picturesque island with wonderful hospitality. So the prize is 2 tickets on Rex to King Island and 2 nights accommodation on board the island. So I'm now going to draw the name out of that barrel. Somebody can see if you can hold that. Thank you very much. So, what seat number is it going to be? Here we go. Okay, so the seat number is Johanna Pilgrim. What seat are you in, Johanna? Right down the back. Well, there she is, Johanna Pilgrim. You've won the 2 flights to King Island and the 2 nights accommodation. You'll be able to, I'll take this down to you in a few moments and give it to you, and you can all cash that in. And we look forward to seeing you on the flight to King Island very shortly.
Yeah, this wasn't going to work. So after finally removing the lid, you can see that the in-flight snack was a celebratory cupcake and a Lamington biscuit. That was all that was offered to economy class passengers. Business class passengers did receive a full meal.
in the morning. Please remain seated with your seatbelt firmly fastened until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the captain has switched off the fasten seatbelt sign. If your electronic devices are within reach, you are welcome to use them now. Electronic devices must not be used whilst disembarking the aircraft and crossing the tarmac. Prior to leaving your seat, please check your seat pocket and the surrounding areas for any of
So thank you very much for watching my first ever video. I hope you enjoyed this flight as much as I did, and stay tuned for the business class video, which should be out in a few days time, or is already out if you're watching this sometime in the future. I'll have the links on the end card. And so we're now deboarding the plane, and that ends what was the inaugural flight for Rex Airlines between Melbourne and Sydney.